वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवके परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. All right. Chapter 2, and we'll be doing verse 35. Bhayadranadu paratam Bhayadranadu paratam Mansyante tvam maharathaha Mansyante tvam maharathaha Yesham cha tvam bahumato Yesham cha tvam bahumato bhutva yasya silaghavam bhutva yasya silaghavam. The great chariot warriors who held you in high esteem will consider you as lowly, thinking that you have desisted from war out of fear. Okay. So Bhagavan is giving different arguments, different explanation. So in these words, Bhagavan says that if you escape, and Bhagavan knows that escapism is not Arjuna's nature. So if you don't wage for the war, and if it is especially out of fear, how the people will think about it? Bhayad ranadu paradam mansyante tvam maharathaha. If you think that you have desisted from war in order to attain salvation by avoiding sin, pap, okay? So fear of sin, committing sin. By avoiding sin, it is not true. Bhagavan very clearly says it is not true. If you had thought of it as a sin to wage the war, you might have spent some time in devotion and meditation and solitude, and would not have invited me to wage this war. Therefore, if you desist from the war, all the living beings will think that you have done so out of fear. Because people will not think about anything. People only think and talk about you that he has run away due to fear. So you have done so out of fear, not out of a sense of duty and righteousness, as it is the first and foremost duty of a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means warrior class. Foremost duty of Kshatriya to fight. It's Kshatriya's duty to fight. yesham cha tvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi laghavam. The great chariot warriors, such who are the great, such as Bhishma, Drona, Krupa, Shalya, these are all the characters from, you can say, the opposite party. But as we know, Bhishma always had a soft corner for the Pandava, and out of all Pandava, Arjun is really, Bhishma really liked Arjun a lot. So the great chariot warriors such as Bhishma, Drona, Krupa, Shalya, etc., who hold you in high esteem for your mighty valor, because you have defeated several demons, gods, demigods, etc. You will fall in their esteem as one who has fled from the war front out of fear of death. So Bhagavan is explaining him that this is really, really, really your duty as a Kshatriya, as you are coming from warrior class. It is your duty, fight. And Bhagavan is giving the different argument. Let's see in the next verse what Bhagavan says. Verse 36. Avachyavadanscha bahun Avachyavadanscha bahun vadeshyanti tavahitaha vadeshyanti tavahitaha nindantas tava samarthyam nindantas tava samarthyam tato dukkha tarannukim tato dukkha tarannukim. Furthermore, what Bhagavan says, your enemies disparaging your strength will speak in unbecoming terms. What could be more distressing than these? Avachya vadanscha bahun vadeshyanti tavahita, and then what it says, nindantas tava samarthyam. They will criticize about your ability or about your capability. Bhagavan says, our sworn enemies. Who are the enemies? Such as Duryodhan, Dushashan, Karna, etc. In spite of knowing your deeds of valor, your bravery, will belittle your strength and will laugh at you and call you a coward. Call you a coward and impotent. How will you bear those insolent jokes and irreparable ignominy? This is my class. Sorry. Tato Dukkha What can be more painful than this? It is generally seen that a person of respectable and high standing cannot tolerate insults from persons of low standing, and he performs deeds of mighty valor beyond expectation. Similarly, you will not be able to tolerate ignominy and slander, and so there will be no alternative for you but to wage the war that has been declared. So how could you bear that ignominy? How are you going to tolerate? Bhagavan says, they're going to criticize. They're going to utter bad words for you. They'll treat you as a person who has escaped from the war out of fear or fear for the death. And it will be very difficult for you to accept that. That's why Bhagavan has uttered the word Tatho Dukkha. What could be more distressing than this? It's very difficult, Bhagavan says. They're going to criticize you. So, in these verses, as we have seen, Bhagavan has explained, Bhagavan tried to convince Arjuna. After explaining the adverse consequences of not waging the war in the preceding 4 verses, in the next 2 verses, Bhagavan Sri Krishna explained the favorable consequences of war. Okay. So, Bhagavan is putting in front of Arjuna both sides. What are the favorable consequences and what are going against you by not waging the war? Here in the verse 37, Hato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va mokshase mahim. Hato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va mokshase mahim. Tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krutanischayah. Tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krutanischayah. Slain in battle, you will gain heaven. Victorious, you will enjoy the sovereignty of earth. Therefore, arise, O son of Kunti, determined to fight. Now, the another argument Bhagavan starts. Okay, so simple. If you fight, if you in the war, 2 things can happen. Okay, you will be killed. But this is sort of dharma yuddha. As a kshatriya, you are fighting, you are discharging your duty. So even if you die, you will get heaven. And of course, another thing can happen, that you can win. And if you win, you will be ruling the kingdom. You will be ruling the whole earth. Hato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim. Previously, in the same chapter, in the 6th verse, Arjun did ask a question that they did not know whether they would conquer the sons of Dhritarashtra or Dhritarashtra's sons would conquer them. Simply as I told you earlier, either they going to kill us or we going to kill them. So he says, I don't know what's going to happen. So in that context, Bhagwan is sharing these words. So Bhagwan Sri Krishna answers the question and says, if you are killed, by who? Because Bhagwan knows who can kill him. So maybe Karna, right? If you are killed by Karna, etc., you will attain heaven. And if you gain victory, you will gain the kingdom. So, both way, you're not going to lose. Thus, righteous warfare would result in good both here and hereafter. Bhagavan says, so you should be prepared to wage war. Otherwise, you risk to lose both. Bhagavan Krishna, by addressing Arjun as Kaunteya, Kaunteya means son of Kunti. Arjun's mother's name was Kunti, and that's why he was known as Kaunteya. So by addressing Arjun as Kaunteya, want to remind him the message to wage the war sent by his mother when he went to the Kaurav with a proposal of a treaty. Therefore, he should rise to the occasion with full determination. Because there are n number of allegations, even who do not know anything, still they will put the allegation. Even on Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan would have stopped it. Bhagavan could have come with some sort of solution. So Bhagavan himself went to Dhritarashtra, to the Kaurav. Bhagavan even told, okay, forget about the half of the kingdom. Just give them 5 villages. But Duryodhana was so stubborn. So they were not prepared to give anything. Maybe this is not written somewhere. I am just assuming maybe Bhagavan, when Bhagavan went to Kaurav's place, to Duryodhana and them, Bhagavan might be smiling in his mind, or in his back of his mind, Bhagavan must have thought that, oh Duryodhana, oh the Kaurav party, you are digging your own grave. Bhagavan must have thought like this. As I told you, this is my assumption, okay. Arjuna was determined not to fight, and Bhagavan Krishna, in the 3rd verse of this chapter, ordered him to rise to the occasion. Here, Arjuna is in a dilemma whether to wage war or not. So Bhagavan Krishna exhorts him, teaching him to be determined to fight without having any doubt. So Bhagavan says, now there must not be any doubt in your mind. Only one thing, one pointed thing, and that is just to fight, nothing else. Bhagavan Krishna wants to say that everyone, keeping Arjun as representative of all of us, Bhagavan wants to say that everyone should discharge his duty very sincerely and enthusiastically to the best of his power and ability in whatever circumstances he is placed or she is placed. Humanity demands it. By discharging one's duty, one makes advancement in this world and other world. It means that by discharging one's duty and by abstaining from what ought not to be done, one attains perfection here as well as hereafter. So that was verse 37. Let's see in the verse 38. Sukha dukkhe same krutva. Sukha dukkhe same krutva. Labha labhau jaya jayau. Labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva. Naivam papam avapsyasi. Naivam papam avapsyasi. Treating alike victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, and engage yourself in battle, fighting. Thus, you will incur no sin. Bhagavan has clearly mentioned, Naivam papam avapsyasi. Arjuna was thinking that by killing his kinsman, he would incur sin. So, Bhagavan Sri Krishna clarifies that it's not the war but desire which induces a man to incur sin. So, by renouncing desire, he should be engaged in war. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva. In a war, a man either gains victory or suffers defeat. Victory results in gain, while defeat results in loss. Worldly people view gain with pleasure and loss with pain. But your aim is not to think of victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, but your goal is to discharge your duty. In the same chapter, you're going to see in the 47th verse, right? Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phale sukadashana. Your right is to do the work, to perform the action, to perform the duty. That you must do it. Forget about the rest. So Bhagavan says, but your aim is not to think of victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, but your goal is to discharge your duty by treating the agreeable and the disagreeable alike. By doing so, you will incur no sin. You will be free from bondage. Everyone should discharge his or her duty honestly and efficiently, whether he has a desire or not for its fruit. By refusing to be affected by favorable and unfavorable circumstances, the mind becomes steady. So, treating the two equally, one should discharge one's duty. You know, now and then, Bhagwan is emphasizing for the duty. And as I told you earlier, keeping Arjun as a representative, but that's for all of us. We are always aware about our rights and ignore our duties. That's we. That's our nature. And that's why Bhagavan says that one should perform his or her duty. Moreover, one should not perform an action for the sake of pleasure and refrain from another for fear of its pain. Scripture should be the authority in determining what ought to be done and what ought not to be done. In the 16th chapter, when it comes here, this is the 24th verse. In 16th chapter, Bhagavan has told very clearly, Tashmat Shastram Pramanante Karya Karya Vyavasthito. Very clearly Bhagavan has mentioned. I think so, it doesn't work here. What scripture says. Follow what scripture says. No, but I think like that. My opinion is like, no. Forget about that. Very clearly Bhagavan has mentioned in the 16th chapter. Naivam papam avapsyasi. Here, the word sin has been used both for sin and virtue. The former leads to the bondage of hell and the latter to the constraints of heaven. Both of these deprive a man of salvation and binds him to follow the cycle of birth and death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janari, jathare shayanam. Sankaracharya has written very clearly. So Bhagavan Krishna exhorts, preaching Arjuna to discharge his duty of waging war by being even-minded. No wavering mind, by being even-minded. This will help him to escape the bondage of both sin and virtue. So, as I told you earlier, by sharing different argument or different way to explain or another way to convince Arjun that, oh Arjun, as a Kshatriya, as you are coming from the warrior class, it's your duty. It's your duty. You have to fight. No other way. No other way. So Bhagavan is explaining that, and we will discuss more about it next week. As you know that our main reference book for the Gita class since beginning is Swami Ram Sukdas Ji's Sadhak Sanjeevani. So in today's discussion,
it's 20 hours.
Whatever you like, whatever you enjoy, credit goes to scripture. Whatever I have studied, I have read, whatever I understand understood, I try to share with you. Absolutely, absolutely nothing belongs to me. So the credit goes to all the great men, all the saints. Nothing belongs to me. We will recite the 73rd verse of 18th chapter, followed by the Arti. Okay? नष्टो मोहः स्मृतिर्लब्धा त्वत्प्रसादान्मयाच्युत स्थितोऽस्मि गतसन्देहः करिष्ये वचनं तव.